But that's not all. We have one more mystery. When Israel came back into the world, and by the way, we have a lot more mysteries. This is like the 7th message right now, and we're at 1948. Next time we do it, we'll be at the Six-Day War, but we're not there yet. And we'll ultimately get to Donald Trump, but that's not now. When Israel came back into the world, it opened up the gates. It said, the gates shall be open for the returning exiles. And now they come back in numbers never before witnessed. So quickly Israel doubles, and then triples. And then from every corner of the globe they return, from Europe after the Holocaust, from, again, the Arab nations, from all around the world to this day. To the point where to this day, you've got like over 6 million Jewish people, which now Israel has more Jewish people than America. Only now. So 1948 is the date that the gates go open for the return of the exiles, the return to the land. Now, what was the first prophecy in the Bible to prophesy the return of Israel? That was in Deuteronomy, the last words of Moses. When he speaks to Israel, and he says, that's the one, if you remember, we all began with that one. This whole mystery began with that one because that's the one where he says a stranger will come to the land and say it is desolate. Then God says, I will then bring you back from the ends of the earth. But even before that, when was the first time that God gave a command to the nation to return to its ancestral land? The law of the Jubilee. That's the first time that God spoke to everybody and said the words, you shall return. Everyone, you shall return to your ancestral land. Now, on a small scale, it's returning to your father's land, your possession. But this is going to be applied to the whole world when Israel comes back. So here's the mystery of the Jubilee from the very beginning, from the very first ordinance, the command, the law of Jubilee over 3,000 years from the lips of Moses. It says, you shall return to the first time. You shall return. Now in Hebrew, numbers represent letters. How do you say, or rather, letters represent numbers. How do you say a number? You use a letter. That's how you do it. That's in Hebrew. That's how you do it. They can also, today they'll use anything, but that's how you do it officially. So for example, what's the first letter in Hebrew? A is Aleph. Aleph. Second letter, Bet. Aleph, Bet. Alphabet. Aleph, Bet. So Aleph is number 1. That represents the number 1. Bet represents the number 2. And then you got other Hebrew letters stand for tens, and others stand for hundreds and thousands. So how does Israel tell its time? First of all, you remember, or no, the Hebrew year is not the same as not 2019 today. It's 5,779. It dates from creation as they best saw it. So it's about 6,000 years going there. So 5779. So now what if you're going to write the letters, you're going to write the year 5779. How do you do that? This is 2019. How do you do that in Hebrew? You take Hebrew letters, right, and you add it up to that number, except it's even more simple. Because in Hebrew, you don't put the millennium. You don't need the millennium because you know it's the millennium. So it's not going to be 5779. It's going to be 779. Okay, got it? Now, the millennium number it's either absent and you already know it, or they separate it. So but they separate it from the other ones. So you got 779. So to write out 5779, you just write out 779 in the Hebrew letters that add up to 779. That identifies 2019. And somewhere else may be the millennium. Now we go back to Leviticus, the law of the Jubilee. First command, you shall return. You shall return each to your ancestral possession. The words command, you shall return, is in Hebrew, it's just one word. One word. The word is tashuvu. Try it. Tashuvu means you shall return. And the context is to your ancestral land. Now there's a prophetic thing because God is going to take Israel and he's going to be the nation that he says to them, you shall return. It applies to the end times. And ultimately, end times, he's going to tell Israel, you shall return. And he will. You shall return to your land. Tashuvu, just one word. And that one word just has 4 letters. 4 letters, Hebrew letters. Hidden in that one word is a mystery that spans the ages. Because it had to do with returning to your ancestral land. Could it contain a mystery concerning the Jewish people? I want you to look at the word. Tashuvu. 4 letters are the T, the Sh, the V, and the U, or U. Tav, Shin, Vet, and Vav. Remember, each letter in Hebrew has a number. Tav is the Hebrew number for 400. Shin is the Hebrew letter for 300. Vet is the Hebrew number for 2, and Vav is the Hebrew number for 6. 400 plus 300 plus 2 and 6, math majors, experts, brilliant people. What does that add up to? 708. 708. Okay, 708. What year? 708. What that you shall return. And this is, by the way, this is not where you find a thing with every Hebrew letter. This happens to be the numbering system of Israel. This is you shall return. What you shall return to your ancestral land. What does it add up to? It adds up to, it points the year 708 is the year 1948. 1948. My God. It pinpoint, you shall return 1948. And from the original context, it's you shall return to your ancestral land. When? 708, 1948.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA.